I will now call upon the first speaker of side proposition to deliver her address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today the motion is that this House believes that homeschooling should be permitted in Hong Kong, and our side strongly agrees. Firstly, we see the problems of Hong Kong is that there are not enough schools provided right now in Hong Kong. Most schools have at least 2 students fighting for one space. Some children don't have a suitable school, a school that fits them. The people who may face this problem are SENs, special needed students, who may have physical or mental disabilities, which may be naturally born or caused by accidents in younger years. People who are socially challenged, which means that they have a problem or difficulty in socializing with people, maybe because of their personalities. They are not suitable for homeschool. Thirdly, is the people who does not learn well at school. The reason why they couldn't learn well is that they might not be able to concentrate in class, or they are unable to understand what the teacher is explaining, simply because their brain works slower than normal students, or they are easily affected by surroundings. We see this problem very urgent, and we must immediately allow homeschooling in Hong Kong for the future of Hong Kong. But how are we going to solve these problems for them by homeschooling them? People who homeschool these children are tutors or qualified teachers. It's because this group of people is able to ensure children with special needs can learn as well. And these tutors will follow the EDB's curriculum, but adapted for some needs of students. Contents would slightly change. And thirdly, it will be a routine schedule every day for homeschooling, minimum of 3 hours of learning time daily, but are required to join some extra curriculum activities to improve their socializing skills weekly. And now I'm going to talk about the advantages of homeschooling. I'm going to tell you how children can learn at their own pace, and homeschooling will make the children more creative and think outside the box. Firstly, children attending homeschooling can learn at their own pace. At school, most schools have large classes, up to 35 students per class, but there's only one teacher. The teacher is unable to solve the problems in every children's head, as the teacher needs to keep up with the school curriculum. Some children couldn't keep up with the pace of the class. They are the left behinders, and they are facing more and more obstacles in understanding. It's very hard for them to learn. Homeschooling can let children learn at their comfortable pace, and questions could be quickly answered by tutors, and the children can improve faster. Special needed ones may extend learning time according to the request of the tutors, and it will maximize their strengths and help improve their weakness efficiently. It's a tailor-made curriculum. About creative and think outside the box. Some students learn better and think independently when they are not confined in a rigid curriculum. There will often be a time when they are able to develop freely and where they are interested in. They can discover more about everything. It's a way for creativity and diversity in depth development. So they are strong in a couple of areas rather than just average in many areas. For this, today's motion must be understood. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, as the speaker of side opposition, I'd like to give you my points on the principal level and the practical level of today's debate. But before I go on, I'd first like to make some rebuttals. Side opposition makes a point saying that some parents can teach. I'd like to stress on the word some, which obviously means that some cannot, which means that homeschooling fails. And then they raise how parents can do one-on-one tutoring. But ladies and gentlemen, then the problem occurs. There is a danger of parents interdictating their children. Then they told us how parents have the time to stay home and teach their children. But ladies and gentlemen, no one walks in Hong Kong. Everyone has to run around the whole Hong Kong. So obviously they don't have enough time, and they'll definitely not have enough time for their children. Then they told us how the teachers cannot completely care for all the students. Well, ladies and gentlemen, obviously the teacher has to prove that he or she is capable of coping with a class before they become a formal and qualified teacher. Now on to my principal point about how you can get early preparation for the society. We believe that if you're at school, you're not the center of attention, because as they say, there are around 40 people in the class. Then you then will understand that you are only a microism in the society. Besides, you're also forced to deal with individuals from different cultural backgrounds. Homeschooling is is like a fairy tale, where everything is good and benefiting the child in all ways. Only at schools can you face the real world, where there are bullies, show-offs, and so on, as they say. We believe that this ultimately leads to early preparation for the society, and that it can take them out of the dream world. Now on to my second principal point about the hothouse effect. If homeschooling is allowed, parents and children will spend each day, day in, day out. The closeness between them becomes good, well, a bit too good, that it becomes exclusive. Then the hothouse effect will occur. What does the hothouse effect mean? It means an interaction with anyone else who will be aggressive by instinct. Obviously, social problems will occur. Now, on to my practical point about how parents do not have teaching qualifications. Well, ladies and gentlemen, most parents are not trained or qualified teachers, as side proposition has just told us. Obviously, they won't be able to provide better or even equivalent quality of education as schools do. Besides, they also raise a point saying that maybe tutors can come and teach, but ladies and gentlemen, tutors only excel in one or a small amount of areas. Obviously, it's not the curriculum they cover is not as much as the school does, because the school has different teachers for different subjects. Ultimately, the school provides better education and can benefit the child. Ladies and gentlemen, no homeschooling is allowed. Thank you.
I now call upon the second speaker of the opposition to deliver his address.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Before continuing my case, I would like to do some rebuttals first. Our dear opponents say that parents can think their children's learning way for them, but how can you prove that? Even when the children don't know what he or she likes when they are so young, that's only parents' will instead of the children's will. Also, they claim that while homeschooling, they can choose their ways to learn. But instead, your choice is the best choice. You may choose not to learn at all, as if you are lazy. So, why don't you follow the educational plans of the experts and just to do it in the traditional schools? Also, they mentioned that the concentration while homeschooling is better, but without that, so much other factors will disturb the students from learning, as my first speaker has told you. Back to my points. As our captain said that homeschooling brings social problems to the students, I'm going to prove that inadequate resources is a problem for homeschooling for the students to learn, and that public schools provide better learning environment and more resources for schools to learn than homeschooling. While homeschooling, parents or higher teacher will be teaching the students at someone's home. Or the tutorial centers, but some lessons are not suitable for students to study at home or centers. For example, physics, chemistry, and biology lessons. Different kinds of experiments will have to be conducted during lessons in order to let students to experience the whole process and understand the plans better and the knowledge better. But most of those experiments need a lot of professional apparatus, and some of them are actually illegal to buy or use in Hong Kong without official permission. Also, quite a lot of those experiments have a great potential danger to do, and serious accidents may be caused by a small mistake. Homeschooling students can only do the experiments at home or the centers. Some dangerous situation will happen. When there is a fire, there are fire extinguishers and trained laboratory technicians in the laboratory. But how about at home or the centers? You may still have one. But when it comes to more serious accidents, like explosion, it will cause great loss of property or even loss of life. So, our team believes that public school or traditional school provide a better and safer environment for students to learn. Not only a safer environment a school can provide, but also an independent one for students to learn and grow. While homeschooling, either parents or higher teacher will be teaching the students. In this situation, the personal or the religious values of the parents or the teachers may be inculcated to the students. So our team strongly believes that schools can provide a better environment for schools to learn and grow. Objectively, we are proud to oppose. Thank you.
side will have 2 minutes to answer questions posed by their opponents. A bell will be rung when the time has elapsed for each team. Side proposition may now begin.
You claim that homeschooling might affect children's political or religious views. Why do you believe that that is harmful to children and limited to homeschooling?
We don't mean that religion or political views actually brings harm or problems to children. Instead, we're only saying that it may affect students' learning or their attitude of their life. And then our dear opponent has mentioned that students can surely find a legal or safe place to perform experiments, but I would like to question, can you raise any examples?
You claim that homeschooling can actually kill people when you try to do experiments where it explodes. You fail to find any evidence, and you fail to raise any examples. How is buying lab supplies illegal?
We are actually telling that doing experiments at home cause a great potential danger. We didn't say that experiments of explosion will kill people. We just say that school is better and provides a better environment for students to do experiments, and it is safer.
Cooking has a potential of causing explosion. If cooking has a causing explosion, we will still cook because it is effective. So, may I ask some position why the homeschooling children cannot approach other children after school to gain the social skills needed? First of all, we don't deny that homeschooling children can actually approach students of other schools for training up their social skills. However, we would like to point out that those time for them to meet is actually only very small. When compared to the 8 hours or even 10 hours a day you meet your classmates or your schoolmates, is actually very little. And then they have also raised cooking as an example, that cooking also has a potential risk of explosion. But we like to point out that cooking is actually an essential thing to maintain our lives, so that we cannot compare them at all.
You claim that homeschool children have less chance to interact with others. Thus, they have less social skills and in academic skills. However, according to the Fraser Institute, homeschools not only outperform the school peers in academic skills, but also in social skills. Therefore, what you say is merely an intentional assumption, which is invalid. Also, if you can, there are also many opportunities for your child to get to know other people. For example, in Scouts, where you get to know peers who are good and beneficial to your development.
Okay, our dear opponent has mentioned Scouts as an example that students can train their social skills. But I would like to ask, how long are you going to meet your Scouts friends for a day? 10 minutes? Hours? 3 hours? Is that really enough compared to 10 hours a day? And then they have also mentioned that more rest equals to more concentration for students to learn. But are you sure that every student will follow the so-called flexible timetable without any wants or action to get away from learning?
If you are in a traditional school, you have to follow a preset timetable. That means, and with loads of homework, loads of workload to do, it is very hard indeed to get enough sleep. Also, when you say you are, for example, hiking with the Scouts, if it's an overnight trip, you can spend loads of quality time with your peers. However, if you are studying in a traditional school, yes, you spend time together for 10 hours a day. Unfortunately, you spend 10 hours a day looking at the blackboard, listening to the teacher talk about it. How can you prove that it's beneficial to fellow students when they're only sort of listening to a blackboard and doing homework?
The proposition team has just said that if we study at school and we have lots of work to do, but it seems we said that we can have less work to do when we have homeschooling.
Side opposition has used up the time. Side proposition has 4 seconds to continue their speech.
We believe that homeschooling is better. This is what today's motion must and will stand.
That concludes the free debate session. There will now be 1 minute for teams to prepare for their reply speeches. Reply speakers are reminded they must not raise viewpoints or evidence in their speeches, except in direct refutation to their opponent's remarks.
During homeschooling, if your teachers or parents are really thinking of you, then they will do the same thing too. And then they have also mentioned that for our school life now, we have so much work that that causes stress to our students. So that we should propose homeschooling in order for students to get enough rest or sleep. But we think that this kind of action is actually only escaping from the work, because when you are coming out to the society to work, you also have to face loads of work. And so when you are working, can you tell your boss that, oh, I used to have so much rest during my schooling, and so now I refuse to work? And are you going to resign from your work? Definitely not. And then, as our second speaker has mentioned, children of such a small age cannot identify their real interests. The so-called will of students mentioned by our dear opponents, that students can choose what subjects they like, is actually only their parents' will, but not the students. This is why we should and have to provide students with wider knowledge base, which they can utilize in the future, as I proposed. And then also our dear opponents has also failed to provide us with an example, not even one example, that students can perform experiments in a safe and legal place. And so that we believe that schools actually provide better resources and more resources for students to learn. Back to my conclusion. Today, I have proved to you that proper school learning is definitely better than homeschooling. And homeschooling isn't really a necessary mode of learning in Hong Kong, due to the compatibility of the education system now and the high accessibility of Hong Kong. Besides, proper school learning can simply ensure the quality of education better than homeschooling, as it is not a must for teachers to follow the curriculum they propose in homeschooling, while syllabus at school is not going to be affected by anything. My second speaker has illustrated how students can train social skills and become a more mature person way better than homeschooling, as students won't have any chance to meet or even to have peers, even if there are sorts of gathering or things like that without the usefulness. My third speaker has proved to you that schools actually provide better and more resources than at home. Just take a simple example of laboratory. Students won't be able to do experiments at home. In this case, school is obviously the better option. From the above, we can see that proper schooling is better than homeschooling, and there is no point to allow homeschooling in Hong Kong. We are proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the debate, because I do think that the debate just now was very impressive. I can see that both sides have done a lot of research, and I think many of the points are very good. And I do want to thank all of you for giving us such a good debate. And I do have some comments about the content. I think you definitely have done a lot of research, and probably I'd like to see a little bit more evidence, because I'm sure that this has been debated. This is a very heated debate in many other countries, and I'm sure that there should be a lot of numbers, statistics to support your side. And I think the opposition side has given some evidence. Probably the opposition side, you can tell us a little bit of numbers, because I myself have seen a lot of research supporting or that are against it. And probably you can tell us what other countries have done research and so to make your case a little bit more convincing. But one thing that I like about your side is that you try to make it into put the arguments into the context in Hong Kong, because somehow homeschooling in other countries may be different from homeschooling in Hong Kong. And so probably I think the opposition side, you can address this a little bit as well, because probably they mentioned Hong Kong is a financial center or something. Probably it's not a good thing. Probably you can address this, and because all your arguments are general arguments for homeschooling, but how about in Hong Kong? Try to compare the numbers and tell them whether it is very relevant to our environment. And stronger ties to it can help. And generally, I think opposition side have done a lot of research. Sometimes I feel that the pace is a little bit too fast. Probably you might want to slow down and show a little bit, make yourself calm down a little bit and try to make it little bit slower so that it's easier to follow. But sometimes I think for some other parts, probably when there are a lot of rebuttals, I think you can try to anticipate a little bit what they go to ask. So there is something that arises. Probably you can prepare it without, you can deliver the speech without too much hesitation. And the opposition side, I especially like rebuttals because I think most of them are very relevant. All makes sense. And I think both sides you have a very good exchange during the free debate, and all of your points are actually true. Somehow I think the arguments are pretty good, and you show the ability to respond to the other side spontaneously, which I find very impressive. So I think both on both sides, I think both of you, both of your team are very impressive. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Mr. Vincent Ho. We would also like to thank all the participating teams, not according to order, Hong Kong Chinese Women's Health College, WYK Secondary School, 1 Secondary School, Queen Elizabeth School, 3-1 Government Secondary School, WYK College Hong Kong, Taiping Chamber of Commerce Secondary School, Poland Hope Cemetery Bishop Chong and St. Paul's College, Sir Alice Community Secondary School, Poland Chong Panyao School, Diocese Girls School, St. Paul's Secondary School, Methodist College, the Radio Public School, Young School, Franklin Junior College, Ryan College Kowloon, St. Stephen's Girls College, and the student leaders from Queen's College. So today we have seen a lot of high quality debates here today at Ryan College Kowloon. I have witnessed a lot of good debates and also a lot of talented debaters today, and we would like to thank all of them for the effort paid before the tournament. So I'm also truly thrilled that how far local students have striven in English debating in local schools and in the English debating community, closing the gap between those international schools. We can see those debaters debating high quality, with confidence, with strong arguments. So give a round of applause to yourselves. So shall we start now? So today's motion is this House believes that Edward acts are justified. On side opposition, we have WYK College Hong Kong. On side opposition, we have WYK College Kowloon. Speaking on behalf of side opposition, the first speaker is James Wong. The second speaker is Andrew Wu. And the third speaker is Alan Judge. Speaking on behalf of side opposition, the first speaker is Ian Hui. speaker is Mason Love. And the third speaker is Jason Chen. We are very honored to have three judges to be our judge of the honor today, Mr. Stephen Lee, Mr. Joanne Cho from Congress, and also I forgot the name, but I really like to thank them for judging for this time. So before the debate starts, I would like to draw attention to the rules. Each speaker shall speak only when summarized by the chairperson likes. Speakers are allowed 3 minutes. At the end of 3 minutes, speakers will be allowed 10 seconds grace. After the 10 seconds has elapsed, there will be mark penalties when speakers go past the grace period. A bell will be rung 30 seconds before the time is up. Twice when the time is elapsed. The bell will be rung continuously until the end of the grace period. And the speaker must then sit down. If there are no further questions, the debate will now begin. I would like to call upon the first speaker of silent opposition to deliver his address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today's motion is this House believes that Edward Snowden's acts are justified. Today, a side opposition first speaker, today we believe that today's motion must and will stand. But firstly, let me give you our team structure, then go on to our definition, and then go on to my points. Well, as first speaker, today I will say on the principle of today's debate, and my second speaker will give you the practical part of today's debate, and my third speaker will be giving you rebuttals. Well, today our definition is on these 3 words: Edward Snowden, his acts, and justified. Well, we define Edward Snowden as the person which leaked the confidential documents on the National Security Agency, and we define acts as disclosing the NSA's surveillance programs, and we define justified as acts are morally right, bringing benefit to humankind, and does more good than harm. Well, now on to my points for today's motion. Well, my first point is around moral. Well, we think that his acts are morally right. Why do we say that? Because that he was in Hong Kong, and because that he disclosed the documents, the secret documents from the NSA that say that the United States is hacking into everyone's emails, phones, these, to just because they want to check that are they communicating with the terrorist force. Well, actually, if Edward Snowden has disclosed these kind of information, and then because of this, the people knew that they were being hacked into their phones and emails. Actually, Edward Snowden knows that he is challenging the law, but actually this is illegal, but he is glorified because that he did this illegal thing. Well, actually, so we say that Edward Snowden today, he actually did something right, because that if he didn't disclose it, then the United States will still keep on hacking onto their phones and invading their privacy. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's motion must and will stand. Thank you.
The speaker used 2 minutes and 39 seconds. No marks will be deducted. May I call upon the first speaker of side opposition to deliver his address?
the talk, we didn't really understand the point about breaching the nation's privacy. They only talked briefly about what Snowden did, but did not really justify what Snowden actually did. All they told us was like this was an infringement of privacy, but did not explain why infringements of privacy are not justified. We believe that it's in every nation's interest to protect its own citizens, especially after, for example, 9/11, when terrorist attacks are growing, and especially when terrorist attacks are directed towards the United States of America. The United States of America has to put on its listening ears to listen to what other countries and other terrorist groups have in mind, so that they can take necessary precautions and preparations to ensure the national safety of its own citizens. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there's not one country in this world without a national security agency, a surveillance agency, or I don't know the names of every country, but the names of all surveillance agencies. But there's no country which doesn't have one. And we believe that it's essential for the safety of its citizens. On the side of opposition, we have three main points: the national security of countries, the political stability, and the worsening foreign relationships with other countries and States of America. As first speaker, I would like to talk about national security. As I've said before, it's in every nation's right and responsibility to protect its own the safety of its own citizens. If we weigh the safety of its own citizens and privacy breaches, you will easily see that the safety of its own citizens matters first. For example, let me describe an analogy. Would you rather be under threats of a bombing by terrorist groups, or have your privacy information or emails hacked? I believe that would be the former, because no one wants their safety to be breached. And in order to achieve that, the United States of America, we believe, is justified in doing so. Second point about political stability. Now, after Edward Snowden disclosed information on how America hacked into a German capitalist phone, then it encouraged outrage for many countries. This affects America's position, especially in the United Nations. For example, countries are more aware of America's actions now, and we're ready to have more relations with America. And this is essentially devastating to America and also other citizens. You have to know that America has a large influence diplomatically and militarily, and it has large force in this issue, which is exactly why America's political stability will affect the stability of the entire world. Thank you.
The speaker used 3 minutes and 10 seconds. No marks will be deducted. I call upon the second speaker of side opposition to deliver his address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today's motion is this House believes that Edward Snowden's acts are justified. Before I go on to my introductory speech, I would like to make some remarks. Today, side proposition has told us that as a result of Snowden's acts, America's ties with other countries have been negatively affected. However, ladies and gentlemen, the fact is that America has done something wrong. So, just because America has a large diplomatic and military influence, does this mean that they can get away with such a large-scale crime, infringing on people's rights across the world, hacking into their emails, and listening on to their phone calls? No, this is not the case. Even in China, we have a saying that even if the king commits a crime, he will be tried as a peasant. So we see that this is still the case in America. If they have breached international laws, then they must bear the consequences. Also, they have said that it's in the interest of protecting their own citizens. However, as much as it is the right of a citizen to privacy, it is also his right to safety. However, basically, you are infringing on one right to protect another right. There are better ways of doing collecting surveillance, and as we have already mentioned, all countries have their own surveillance to assure the safety of their citizens. But however, they do not just spy on everybody on the earth. America has also done a disproportionate amount of spying on different countries and people. Now on to my point. As the second speaker of side opposition, I will be talking about the practical level of how Snowden's acts are justified. What does this mean? This means, have we seen any good and beneficial consequences as a result of Snowden's actions? The answer is yes. What the United States has done is infringe on people's rights by spying on them and collecting information unnecessarily. What Snowden has done is told the world about how the United States is doing this, and as a result, different countries can take protective measures such as being more cautious and alert against the United States, or they can develop, for example, anti-hacker software. Or even on an international level, the United Nations can now impose sanctions on the United States to prevent them from doing this again. This means that human rights are better protected because the United States can no longer infringe on people's rights. This also helps prevent other countries from doing this, as they will be discouraged seeing the consequences following the United States acts. Consequently, they vote to not stand.
The speaker used 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Not to be deducted. I would like to call upon the second speaker of side opposition to deliver his address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear opponents. The motion for us today is Edward Snowden's acts are justified. I'm Mason Lunn, and I am the first second speaker of side opposition. Before I begin my speech, I would like to refute some points raised by my worthy opponents. First of all, they said that the consequences of the United States' Edward Snowden's leaking of classified information is justified. However, I want to point out that the information he leaked, and coupled with the fact that he actually sought asylum in Russia, which is a former adversary of the United States, can possibly lead to a Second World War, and that is not a desirable situation that we want to face. Now, back to my speech. Edward Snowden, a man who leaked classified information belonging to the United States, and then flying to countries with less than ideal relations with the United States, including such as Hong Kong, under the influence of the People's Republic of China, then moving on to Russia, which is a former adversary of the United States, and where he sought political asylum. I want to ask, he is not, is he a role model? Is he someone to look up to? The answer is no. Would you want to hear the news of that child as, say, a government worker holding a very high government position actually leaking classified information belonging to your country? Would you like to hear the news of that? No, you wouldn't. So, here is the problem about Edward Snowden's actions. This incident has actually led to the idolization of Mr. Snowden, and which is definitely not a situation which we want to do, which we want to see. So, next thing, Edward Snowden leaking classified information is already a very, very, very serious act of treason. And then, afterwards, he actually sought political asylum in a former adversary country. So, after that, he's actually telling people to do what he wants to do. So he He's actually telling people to follow his path. So actually I want to tell you, for the greater good of civilization and foreign relations, Edward Snowden's acts are not to be looked up to and are not justified. Because of the above reasons, today's motion must be voted for. Thank you.
The speaker used 3 minutes and 6 seconds. No remarks will be deducted. Now I call upon the third speaker of side proposition to deliver his address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, as the speaker of side proposition, I'd like to sum up on my key case and tell you why side proposition have clearly taken today's debate. We see one major clash today in the debate, and that is whether the pros of what he did outweigh the cons. And as side proposition, we truly believe that he is he added in positive effect. Now I'd like to rebut every single one of the points. Firstly, they told us and they asked us whether we would like to hear about how the country is finalized. Well, ladies and gentlemen, yes, of course we would like to hear about whether our countries are finalized. And in fact, we don't want them to spy on us. Hearing what they do to us, people will just want to revolt that movement. Then they raise a point asking us whether we want to fight this attack or do you want us to be involved. But ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't even make sense. We don't believe that there are millions of terrorists waiting to bomb the USA. So even if there is, they obviously should reflect upon their own acts if this is really true. Then they told us about how it is not illegal. Edward Snowden's acts are not legal. But ladies and gentlemen, although it is not legal, but we believe that the benefits of what he did definitely trump over the cost of what he has done. As we have shown you in our first speech and our second speech, on the municipal level and practical level, that his votes definitely outweigh his costs. Then they raise a point saying that infringement is involved. But ladies and gentlemen, I trust that it is basically common sense that infringement is not moral, which our first speaker has more than fully elaborated on. Not long after that, they raised how there is no country without a security system and that it is okay for the NSA to do such things. But ladies and gentlemen, yes, all countries do have a security system, but no country apart from the USA does in fact infringe on everyone's privacy. Then they told us how this has caused a lot of international issues, but ladies and gentlemen, the argument we see is just merely a big show to bring people that no country knew about it. This is actually wrong, and they have failed to prove how it is right. Therefore, this motion must and will stand. Thank you.
The speaker used 2 minutes and 40 seconds. No remarks will be deducted. Now I call upon the third speaker of side opposition to deliver his address.
Gentlemen, this motion before us is average doing acts are justified. I'm the first speaker of the side opposition. Before I begin my constructive arguments, I would like to some of the points by our real police. Today, the first speaker said that terrorists need reflection. But I would like to ask one question. If terrorists can know how to reflect and improve, why there will be terrorist attacks such as 9/11? It's just because they don't know how to reflect, they don't know how to improve. They do injustice acts such as bombings, terrorizing other countries. And they also raised that no other countries except from USA have the surveillance system. Actually, our raise one point is that we don't know USA have surveillance system until adversely exposed it. So why, how can we prove that point today? So I would like to continue elaborating my arguments. I think that opposition believes that the exposure is more remote. But between public safety and the exposure, which is more important? Of course, it is the public safety. What is the aim of setting up intelligence agencies, ladies and gentlemen? It's to protect public interests and safety. Actually, the reason today is not enough to justify, because if we today South Asian raised that the only way is to there are other ways to prevent terrorist attacks except of tapping others' phones or emails. But I'd like to raise a point today. What is the practicality of defending terrorist attacks except tapping and setting up surveillance systems? There are no other way except full surveillance systems, because terrorists is disguised as non-terrorists and terrorize and bomb everywhere. Therefore, today's motion was a report.
The speaker used 2 minutes and 10 seconds. No marks will be deducted. That concludes today's constructive speeches. We will now begin the free debate session. Each side will have 2 minutes to ask and answer questions posed by their opponents. A bell will be rung when the time has elapsed for each team. So let the free debate session start.
So you said that Edward Snowden's acts are not justified because that is illegal. But actually, and also you said that it is not the right person to follow. But actually, if he did not do that, then how will the people know that they are being hacked into their phones or emails? Well, then their privacy will be infringed. So actually, is people's privacy or the other people's more important? Please justify yourself.
Okay, so firstly, we'd like to make it clear that we did not say that Edward Snowden's acts are unjustified or illegal to prove our point. We simply said that Edward Snowden's act, the consequences of his acts have devastating consequences to political safety, foreign relations, and the national security of the United States. We believe that the state's security, especially the physical safety of its people, of a state, is much more important than the spiritual things or knowledge that states gain from serving its citizens.
Well, you have said that it is an act of treason, and by definition, treason is against the law. So, are you contradicting yourself?
You did not say anything about President Reagan, did it? I'm sorry if you're mistaken, but we did, as I said before, we did not use how Edward Snowden's acts are actually illegal to justify this point, because that would be pointless, right? We're here to discuss whether it's justified or not, whether not to point out which laws you broke in the United States.
Well, sir, you didn't say it. Of course you didn't say it, but your second speaker said it. And besides, you say, would you rather your privacy being hacked, or would you rather being bombed? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we think that the right to know that all your things are kept safe is the best thing to know.
You say that the best thing to know is when all of your things are kept safe. However, we ask you a question. Would you rather risk the fact, knowing that the United States government is probably spying on your recipe exchanging process with your neighbor, or maybe one day when you go shopping a terrorist drives by with a dirty bomb and boom, you get cancer for the rest of your life? Which would you prefer? No.
Sir, I don't think that you have a million of terrorists planning to bomb USA every single second.
The United States does its best to safeguard its national borders and its safety. That is the reason behind the Surveillance Act. It is to ensure the safety of the country who protects all of its citizens.
The surveillance is morally incorrect to begin with.
No, the own interest to do so. And we have proven it time and again how the nation's people's own safety is much more important than the spiritual things that the American gets from.
Time has elapsed for Wine College Cameroon. 34 seconds remains for Wine College Hong Kong. You may use your time now.
As the first speaker has already told side opposition who are unwilling to listen to us, that it is definitely immoral to spy on people and infringe upon their privacy. We have told them once and again, but they've never actually thought about our point. Thank you.
Concludes the free debate session. There will be now 1 minute for teams to prepare for their reply speeches. Reply speakers are reminded they must not raise new points or evidence in their speeches, except in direct refutation to their opponent's remarks. The 1 minute starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, so side opposition tries to claim that international service is not morally permissible. However, what is morally permissible, ladies and gentlemen? They have failed to prove this time and again. They assume that it's a fact that international service is wrong. But we believe that what is morally permissible is what that is actually done for the greater good. In this case, we have proved time and again that international service is so important to a country's national security because it can protect its citizens from terrorist attacks, especially America, which is a main part for terrorist countries. So, ladies and gentlemen, say America entirely abandons its plan to survey other countries and makes itself vulnerable to terrorist attacks. And when terrorist attacks do happen, what will the citizens of America say? They'll say America has failed to protect them because they have not adopted measures in order to enhance national security. They will blame America for not taking enough hardcore measures to protect the national security of its civilians. So what does the breaches of privacy actually matter if the consequences of not doing so would be so much larger? So I'd like to repeat a few points that side opposition has not addressed down the bench, which we talked about. First, we talked about the national security breaches. They have failed, as I've talked about before, national security breaches that I've talked about before. So they have failed to tell us why such national security breaches and the failure to protect its own citizens is justified. They only assume that national surveillance is wrong and this property should be protected at all costs. It didn't really explain why. Second, we also talked about how this would affect the political stability of countries, how it would cause America, which is militarily, economically, and diplomatically capable country, how if this country is targeted and pinpointed, and how if the interests are affected, it will affect the entire political stability and would cause major damage and harm to the economy and foreign relations of even other countries. As you can see, terrorist studies have not only harmed America itself, but also harmed other countries which have relationships with America. Especially in the example which our second speaker has brought up, about how terrorist has seen asylum in Russia. This is the greatly damaging relationship between America and Russia, and we are afraid that such deteriorating relationships may lead to, if not worse, a second Cold War, which we have seen the consequences of the Cold War. We believe that this is essential for these two strong powers in the world to remain at peace, to remain diplomatic, to solve issues, and we do not wish to see tensions growing again. And this is exactly why, we do not approve of some of these actions.
The speaker used 3 minutes and 9 seconds. No marks will be deducted. I would like to call upon the reply speaker of side opposition to deliver the reply speech.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As reply speaker of side opposition, I will be showing you why the side opposition has clearly taken today's debate. I would like to clarify one thing before I begin, and that is that Edward Snowden going to Russia or Hong Kong is completely irrelevant, because in our definition, we specifically stated that Edward Snowden's acts only include him disclosing the NSA's secrets and not him going to wherever after that. Okay, so the side opposition has asked us a question, and that is, will we be happy as Edward Snowden's parents if we learn that he has betrayed the US's secrets? The answer, contrary to whatever they may have to say, is actually yes. Edward Snowden has been upholding justice and basic human rights of people across the world, which the United States has been infringing on. Now I ask you, what is the point of living if you do not have human rights? What if you are a slave condemned to working 16 hours a day in harsh conditions? Where are your human rights then? Yes, you get to live, but then so what? Your quality of life is so poor, you would rather be dead. So, from this, yes, it's not this extreme, but from this we can see that human rights are very important, sometimes even more important than your own life. Yes, and okay, yes, we agree that America is a powerful diplomatic, economic, militarily, but as I have already said in my speech, and now I reiterate, this does not mean that they can get away with everything that they do. Snowden's acts has exposed these wrongdoings and allowed people to take the necessary precautions against the United States spying on them. Also, they have said that if we do not spy on people, then how are we supposed to maintain our own country's safety? However, the only country that does this is the USA. And what about other countries? You do not see them being bombed every day. And they still do not need to spy on everybody and infringe on everyone's privacy just to ensure the safety of their citizens. So we can clearly see that spying on people is completely unnecessary. Also, they have said that we may not just know that other countries are spying on us. However, ladies and gentlemen, in my speech I already said that as a result of Edward Snowden's actions, countries will be deterred from doing this practice. Therefore, today's vote is must stand.
The speaker is 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Marks will be deducted. That concludes today's debate. I invite the debaters to cross the floor and shake hands.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for, I just want to say first of all, thank you for Ryan and Howard for organising another great tournament. We've been on here for 3 years now, and each time, it gets better and better. And I think Miss Erica has been thanked before, and the whole team, but I think they deserve another round of applause. All the other teachers helping, and also obviously the students as well, who helped support. We're each going to say a little thing. We're going to string it out a bit longer, as is the tradition. I'm going to talk just a little bit generally about aspects of this debate that could have been improved from both teams. I think there were some really good ideas that were, I think you guys did actually bring out some very key things in this debate. It was a case of whether, really taking it further and developing it. I think I'll just talk about two things. One, I think, is just the use of your ideas and developing your ideas in the debate. We did feel that there were a few things that were put into the debate, a few ideas and arguments, which were just left to hang there in the air, and they could have been developed a little bit better. When you say something, try to think about both explaining the connection between when you say this, when this happens, this will happen as a result of it. Try to explain some of the elaboration. I'll just give one example, maybe from both sides, to show that this is something that both sides could have improved a little bit more on. On T proposition, the mention that revealing all this spying that Edward Snowden did might lead to, more vigilance or protective measures in this way. I think that was something that could have been developed a little bit more, just to try to follow through with your ideas a little bit more. And also on team opposition, this argument that these tensions, these diplomatic tensions, might lead to a worsening relations and even, I quote, World War III. Again, if this is how you see it, or later one has mentioned another Cold War, again, a bit more to try to connect up, as you said, two things which are, require a lot of explanations from A to go from A to B in this way. So try to, develop the ideas a bit more fully and elaborate them a bit more in this way. I think the other thing I'll just talk about is maybe the free debate. Now, I actually think you guys can do a better free debate because I have seen some of the teams that do some very good free debate today. I guess in this case, I think maybe on the stage in front of so many people, I think maybe people got a little bit tense, a little bit excited, and it became more of a game of sort of a little bit like name calling in a way, rather than sort of an argument. Remember that up until this point, you each had 3 speeches. You each introduced a number of arguments. These are sort of bullets in your gun, so to speak, ammunition that you can use in the debate. Try to use the full range of all the arguments that you brought into the debate up until that point. We got very fixated on whether surveillance or national security is more important, and there's a lot of going back and forth on that. When something doesn't work, or when nobody really is taking advantage, try to bring in something else that you brought into the debate as well. But overall, it was a very enjoyable one. I'm going to hand over to my fellow judges now, who will talk a bit more specifically about the structure of the speech.
Okay, since all 3 of us decided to talk about different things, mostly I'm going to talk about the structure of the speeches. I think for a topic like Edward Snowden, when you have lots of details and lots of murky ground, the speeches need to be a lot clearer on what you're actually trying to say. I understand that you are very excited to rebut or to respond to points, but when your judge cannot follow what your speech is trying to say, what role you're playing in the debate really hurts you. So firstly, I would like you to think about that. And secondly, sometimes these speeches, it's obvious that you do not have a lot of content, then you need to go back to your research stage and make sure there's enough content. For Edward Snowden, it's been a year since Edward Snowden happened, June 5th, I think it was last year. And so there's been a lot of news, a lot of data about it. And for one of the speeches, I actually wrote down on my piece of paper that there's like a lack of content and a lack of data. Like what is actually going on, what did he do, what documents did he steal, like how did this affect US policy? Did they shut down the NSA, did they not shut down the NSA, what did they do after Edward Snowden actually revealed these details? You need to give more of these data and details to fill up your speech. Instead of, there were like, for a 3-minute speech, you had no time, but somehow there was still occasional time, but I feel like you were trying to fill out your time, pad out your time with useless details, and that's probably not a good thing. Okay, and secondly, my second point is about avoiding absolutes. Okay, when you give speeches, it's good to be very jubilant, very energetic, but your absolutes absolutely kill me. Like, there are points when I'm just like, you said, I'm now going to like rebut every single one of your points. And I'm just like, okay, that's every single one, really? Like, are you sure? Are you sure you're not going to rebut 90% of the points? So like, just try to avoid that kind of absolute detail. Or like something about like, there is absolutely no other country that, you know, is doing that much surveillance as the USA. That was a good statement, but do you have anything to back that up? If you don't have anything to back that up, then it just sounds like you're making things up to make yourself sound more, you make yourself sound like more of an expert on this topic than you actually are. So avoid absolutes because absolutes blow a hole in your argument for people to think their heels in. If you say that there are very few countries that are as vigilant as the USA and national surveillance, then there's not many holes in that. You know, there are very few countries, not saying which countries they are, but like there's no countries. If they have one, then you're basically not in a very good position. So I avoid absolute statements unless you have numbers to back it up. I would say that is the main point I want to talk about right now. And our last church will talk a little bit more about other things. But I would like to say that this is not an easy topic. Edward Snowden has been discussed in a lot of debate championships for like the past year. I've like heard maybe like at least 5 or 6 debates on Edward Snowden already. So I think I want to congratulate you all on doing such a good job on it. Thank you.
Okay, I will make my part short, okay, and then I'll announce the result. But before that, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Ms. Chen, okay, which is not really probably done by the chairperson. Anyway, I'm here talking about the interpretation of the motion. To us, 3 of us, I feel that the motion might have a little bit misinterpreted by the opposition team. They tend to be more focusing on the acts done by the country, the US. Okay, they said that, or they were actually trying to prove to us that the acts of the country are not justified. But actually, they should be more focusing on the acts of the person, I mean Snowden. And yeah, and I think they have mentioned terms like the Second World War, or even the Second Cold War. But are they actually your assumptions? Could assumptions be wrong or be false? And yeah, there are lots of tensions among countries. Are you saying that his acts would necessarily lead to the Second Cold War? How can you prove that? And about the proposition team, actually the idea of upholding the basic human rights is valid, but they put it too late. They put forward too late. Okay. As far as I remember, it was actually mentioned by the last speaker in his reply speech. But I guess human rights, notion of human rights should be properly addressed throughout. And they actually, the proposition team also didn't realize that the fact that exposing the top secret of the country itself could be immoral. That thing about the country hacking into someone's account or not. So I feel that this point might not be properly explained, even in free debate. And the team line should be clearly addressed and stated at the beginning of the speech. Which should be done by the first speaker. But both teams can or could have paid attention to how you structure your ideas, especially to be done by the first speaker. So team line is important, which is to summarize the key ideas, to be addressed by you and also the other 2 speakers. So I feel that the first speaker will have give us a more careful thought on this. Now here comes to the announcement of the result. After a careful consideration and discussion over that, and welcoming. We feel that, and we agree that the winning team is the proposition team. That's YK College in Hong Kong. Congratulations. And both teams have done an amazing job. This is not an easy one to tackle, but both of them have done nicely. Thank you.
Thank you very much, judges, for the very constructive comments. I'm sure we all can learn from this, and yes, I hope actually all of you have learned from this event. Now we would like to invite our principal of YK College Kowloon, Mr. Warren Chong, to share a few words with us. Mr. Chong.
Teachers, learners and friends of YN, welcome to YN, and thank you very much for taking part in the inter-school debating competition. We hope that this competition can serve as a platform for all of you to share your experience, knowledge, and expertise in debating. And I also have to thank all the teachers for encouraging your students to take part in such a meaningful event. We believe that through debates, our students can polish their communicative skills, critical thinking skills, and the use of arguments, logic. And I believe that all the students can benefit from taking part in events like this. And today's debating competition is a competition. But we regard you as friends, as our partners, rather than opponents. When we compete, we can push each other to a high level so that we can develop our potential, our God-given potential. And most importantly, we hope that through today's event, you can know some new friends. You can also befriend and improve, and most importantly, enjoy today's event. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So now is the time that you've been waiting for. The final results. Mr. Chong, sorry, actually, we would like to invite first Mr. Chong to present the results for the winners of the speakers. So, as you know, that there are two categories for best novice debaters, for debaters who are debating for the first year, as well as best debaters. So first, let's present our individual prizes for the best novice debaters. Third place, Mason Leung from YK College Kowloon. Okay. Second place, Anson Chen from DGS. First place, Coco Kok from BPS. Yes, the name is Coco Kok from BPS. First place. Congratulations. Thank you. And let's move on to the best debaters. These are a little more experienced debaters, maybe second year, third year. Okay. So third place, Alan Judge from WYK College Hong Kong. Second place, Long Ip from WYK Chamber of Commerce Secondary School. And finally, first place, Isaac Chang from WYK Chamber of Commerce Secondary School. Thank you. And thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And here comes the team results. I would like to invite the final round judges, Mr. Chen, Ms. Cho, and Mr. Lee. Okay. First, we have fourth place, WYK Chamber of Commerce Secondary School. Congratulations. Third place, Holland Centenary Lee Chiu Chung College. Congratulations. And we know the rest already. Second place, YM College Kowloon. Congratulations. And last but not least, first place, YM College Hong Kong. Okay, congratulations, and thank you.